Welcome to Business Talk, where we bring you the brightest minds in the worlds of business and finance. Now, 2 years ago, the ever-entrepreneurial Investec, South Africa's fifth largest bank by balance sheet, stepped into the arena of business banking, armed with a comprehensive end-to-end business proposition that really mirrors their renowned high-service model from the private client sector. And since then, the results have been nothing short of spectacular. Well, today we're joined by Dhiren Mansingh, who's the head of Business Transactional Banking at Investec. He's here to unravel some of the mysteries of the mid-market business banking landscape and also to shed some light on the remarkable growth that Investec has seen. Dhiren, a great pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here.
And a bit more about you. You're not only the head of Business Transactional Banking and Investec, but also the head of Treasury Sales and Structuring. So you focus on client treasury requirements in various financial domains. And you've been with Investec for quite some time. I think your journey started, around 2004, 2005. And
It's,
2 years ago, yeah,
it's
is
actually
that right?
earlier than that. I started at Investec in 2002. So I've been here
Wow,
almost
even before.
22 years, and I actually cut my teeth in the global market space. I've been there
Ah, I see.
I'm still in global markets, and I've been doing this transactional banking piece as well.
As Stephen Kosov might say, one of the old dogs to guide some of the young pups in the bank. Now, 2 years ago, Investec entered the business banking market with a full end-to-end business proposition. As a challenger in this space, what kind of growth have you witnessed since then?
So I think if I could take a step back, Michael, and just talk about when we talk business transactional banking or Investec business banking, what client segment we actually targeting here? We're targeting the business segment, which is really, as we define it, 30 million turnover upwards to about a 1.5 billion turnover, which some of the other banks talk about their business and commercial banking. That's the segment that we're actually targeting. Now, our growth in this segment talks a little bit to where our market share has been in this segment. So as Investec, we've had a very small market share in this client segment for many, many years. Part of the reason being not having a fully fledged holistic offering. So when we've hit this market, we found that the client acquisition, transactional volumes, lending volumes have grown significantly since the 2 years that we've been in this space.
Significantly, I believe a quadrupling of customers in terms of numbers. Obviously, payment volumes are soaring, and a boost in facilities in the import sector. I was chatting to your colleague, Dr. Greg Klein. It's certainly a sweet spot of yours from that perspective. But you'll focus very much on the mid-market space. So I want to understand why that segment is such a big focus of the business.
Well, if you look at the mid-market segment in South Africa, so that's once again that 30 million to about a 1.5 billion turnover. That is a large client segment in the South African context in terms of number of clients. It's also a very important segment with regard to job creation, contribution to growth, and really supporting the South African economy. So it's a critically important uh, segment for the economy. Being part of that and contributing to the growth and success of those clients is something that's very important to Investec. And also, as I said earlier, it's a market share it's a market that we've had very small market share in. So in an environment where South African growth is pedestrian at best, as a bank we have to think around where we're going to grow and
Yeah.
looking at certain segments where we are underrepresented from a market share perspective represents a good opportunity for us. That's the Investec story. But I also want to re-emphasize that it's also such an important cog in the South African economy, this segment. So we want to do our contribution to be involved in this segment with these businesses to help contribute to the South African story as well.
Yeah, and these businesses are the ones that are so critical in ensuring when we do start bouncing back that we can really accelerate growth. And they're the kinds of businesses that, as you say, 30 million to 1.5 billion, they've already proved themselves. They've been through various cycles in the past. We've just come through COVID, and I'm sure they're looking at their working capital cycles at the moment. It's tough out there. Debtors' days are extending. given the environment, given load shedding and the really dour mood around the economy, how are you bringing unique business solutions to this particular market?
Yeah. Michael, I think maybe it's worth chatting about when we talk about the holistic offering that Investec is providing to this client segment. Spend a little bit of a time around what we're talking about here. So we've got a finance offering, and the finance offering is from working cap, short dated lending, right through to your term, event driven lending. You mentioned earlier, you spoke to Dr. Greg Klein from our import financing business. As part of that financing structure, we have quite a unique in-house logistics solutions where for our clients, we facilitate for them the actual logistics of the imports, the FX related to that, plus the funding. So that's quite a unique package that is added to our fully fledged financing offering in that space. We then have FX as an offering, and this is beyond the simple spot transactions or forward transactions, but we've created a dedicated FX team in our global markets team that works in this Investec business offering to, to focus particularly on this client segment. They tapped into the global markets FX franchise as well, so they bring that insights around what's happening with regard to hedging structures, hedging policies, uh, FX options, those things alongside the vanilla FX, but talk specifically to this business client. Alongside this, we have a fully fledged cash offering, so investment cash from call through to notice products, fixed deposits, and then the piece that has been missing at Investec for quite a lot of years, which is what we launched 2 years ago, is the transactional banking capability. And that's the transactional account, which comes with all the payments and receipts. It's the credit cards. It's the full platform as well that wraps all this offering that I spoke about under one nice, neat, simple, easy, intuitive to use platform. And that's basically puts together the entire offering. And that's what we are coming to or have come to the market with. But we often get asked, what's the silver bullet? And I don't think it's any particular actual capability or offering. I think over time that can be easily replicated in the market. I think the importance is really how you do it. So, what's the service
Yeah.
offering that you offer this market with the capabilities that you offer them? And we've been very deliberate in trying to bring through the Investec private banking service offering, but now to businesses. And you would know, Michael, that the Investec private bank and wealth offering that we have, it's been the number one uh, private bank and wealth manager for the last 10 years, and largely because of our value proposition through to because of service. And we've brought that into this segment, which we believe through our research and speaking to clients, it has really been an underserviced market with regard to a service offering.
And that really has been the core underpin of Investec's, strategy in this market for the longest time. Is that relational, high touch, very bespoke kind of service that you're now taking, as you say, from the private client side into the business side. We're also operating in an environment where everything is technology based, everything is done on a cell phone, and everyone's talking about AI at the moment. How are you balancing that traditional high touch strength within the world of high tech, and then bringing these comprehensive transactional banking solutions to your clients?
Yes. So, look, the philosophy with which we built this offering was based and premised on this high tech, high touch combination. But really, it's to have high tech to enable the high touch offering that we have. So, our philosophy is never to get rid of the individual, banker, and human interaction with the client, but it's also at the same time to use technology to make life as easy, as intuitive for our clients as possible. So anything that can be self-service, that a client can do better on their own with the use of technology, that's what we want to put in the hands of our clients to enable them to do that. And then we can focus our bankers and the personnel at Investec to focus on the high value and the high value stuff for our clients. So it is that combination to get right. I think technology, Michael, given that we've built our platforms and our tech more recently,
Yeah.
uh, we've used recent technology. So we are not relying heavily on legacy systems. We have some legacy in the bank, so we're using some of it, but it's not a heavily reliant on legacy. So it's new technology, it's quite intuitive, it's quite simple to use. And that user experience with regard to even a high touch experience using your technology is something that we're trying to bring into our clients' experience. But once again, just to emphasize, not to replace the human interaction. So some of the things
Yeah.
that we've done in the technology space is uh, we've made available a lot of our capability, transactional history, payments, etc. We've made it available via APIs, and we've made it quite easy for clients to integrate these data streams with the bank into their own system. And we've also done it if they have their own dev teams that they could integrate using their dev teams. If these clients, and some of them don't, have their own development teams, we've created low code solutions where it's actually very simple for a client to integrate via these APIs such that they have banking at their fingertips as well. So it's almost a banking platform designed by the client, but uh, integrated by Investec.
And that's really, I mean, that to me is the embodiment of high tech, high touch, because you're giving that ability, that flexibility for your client to design whatever solutions they need to the client and to be able to integrate into your systems. And I recall maybe just over a year ago now that Investec announced that it was opening up on the private client side to IT professionals as well, which I thought was a very progressive move. Talking about executing on the strategy, have you found it a challenge? Given where the South African economy is at the moment, how is it being received in the marketplace?
So it's actually been received very positively. We're quite fortunate. I think when you start something new, one of the main concerns or challenges that businesses will have is around acquisition and around growth of new clients. We've actually been quite fortunate in that that hasn't been a challenge for us. So I think many of our clients, existing clients, have been waiting for this offering from us, and there's been word of mouth and some marketing as well. But our pipeline's strong. Our acquisitions that we've had over the last 2 years, as you spoke about, in certain aspects, doubled, quadrupled in terms of client acquisition. So that hasn't been a challenge, and that's been we've actually been quite fortunate around that. Uh, I guess the main thing for us is to continuously, as we grow our client base, to keep true to our service model promise, which is something that we did upfront. When we said we were going to build this, we did quite a lot of external research around what are the pain points of this segment in particular. And I was initially, when we first did it, I was surprised to find that pricing didn't come into the top three of the client's pain points. It was actually outside the top five. It slipped into the top four during COVID, where pricing became more sticky. I think businesses had a tough time as well. But the things
Yeah,
that came up constantly over the years was lack of service, particularly in this client base. So lack of service, underserved. It was complexity and lack of transparency. So there's reams and reams of uh, pricing, the pricing modules. So when a client banks generally in this space, the pricing stack can be quite complex. Like how are they charged per transaction, per account, for the platform, for transfers, in transfer, all these things can be quite complex. We then said, based on the feedback, we're going to make our offering quite simple. We're going to target what the client's pain points are. I spoke already about the service model, but we also said we're going to make our platform very simple and intuitive to use, and our pricing is this probably the simplest in the market, Michael. It is it is a page. It is simple pricing. It's not reams and reams of complex pricing, so it's easy for the client
yeah.
to understand, and it's quite transparent as well.
Yeah, and I think what it speaks to is that it's a market segment that are willing to pay for good service. They're willing to pay for the simplicity of understanding how and when you're going to be able to receive the kind of access to a particular product or a need for a particular funding solution as and when you need it, rather than to try and wade through reams of layers and tiers of things that are most often just incomprehensible. Now, what's next for Investec Business Banking? I mean, you've had this really solid foundational start where some of the growth numbers would probably make Grant Williams' head spin on the wing for the box. What's next for Investec Business Banking?
So we are very excited. We are very excited about the journey that this business is going to be on, this proposition is going to be on, particularly because our underrepresented market share in this client segment. Now, we touched a little bit earlier around the growth over the last 2 years. I mean, in this uh, business segment, this 30 million to 1.5 billion, at Investec, these has been the fastest growing lending books that we've experienced in the bank. It's been the fastest growing acquisition in terms of number of clients in any compared to any other segment at Investec, in terms of number of transactions, volumes. So it's already represented significant growth for Investec, even over the short while that we've gone to market with this. The future, we're going to continuously uh, roll out further capabilities on our transactional offering, uh, and really then grow into the market share that we think we should be in this space. We estimate that our market share is currently, now it depends on what offering you're talking about, whether it's lending, cash, or transactional or FX. But if I talk holistically, so if I combine this, so there's averages here, I would say we've got market share of about 2% in this space, which is a small market. I think we could, over the next 3 to 4 years, get to a market share of about 10%. So it represents a significant growth opportunity for Investec. So the future, I think, looks very exciting. It looks very positive. Uh, we spoke about as well, in an environment where growth is sideways, growth opportunities are represented by where you can grow from a market share perspective as well. So that's very
Yeah.
exciting for us.
Yeah, that would represent almost another quadrupling from where you are. So just showing you that, or for yes, or for low base, but that exponential growth is certainly within your reach. If you zoom out and if you just say, well, what does business banking of the future look like in a world where technology is moving so quickly? AI seems to be upending everything. Everyone talking about ChatGPT and how is it going to displace or replace or augment different sectors? What can we expect from a business bank 2030, for example? What does business banking of the future look like?
So if I could talk about the first principles of business banking. Business banking is a client wants to borrow, wants to deposit their savings cash, wants to do FX, and wants to do transactions which are payments in and out. That is the crux of the business banking offering. Added to that, you've got our private bank and wealth offering that will add to those underlying clients. So if we start with as that being the first principles, how would that be advanced by technology going forward? Would be, how can we use technology to have the capability that I just spoke about at the fingertips of the clients in the way the client wants to see it? Now, each client is different. How they want to analyze their accounts, how they want to recon their accounts, how they want to integrate it into their ERP system. And you want to create and use technology such that each solution is bespoke to the client and almost designed by the client and facilitated by the bank, in this case, Investec. And that's, I think, where we're using technology in order to have the client have a bespoke solution and bespoke offering for themselves, such that it's very unique to them.
Well, I think it's a very exciting development, given that I think what most of us are used to in our everyday lives is the ability to design exactly what we want out of most products and services. And I think banking is certainly leading the way here when we think of some of the fintech developments that we've seen as well. Dhiren, thank you very much for your time. That brings us to the end of another insightful discussion here on Business Talk, and all the best in building out this business banking offering and the exciting future that lies ahead for investing. Take care.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Thanks very much.